guys, and welcome back to I'm a Celeb Catch Up. And today we have got the episode to talk about. It was an episode of I'm a Celeb, and it was an episode of I'm a Celeb. Yeah, it was all right. I gotta say. I'm gonna be honest. Not the most entertaining. Had some very very entertaining parts, but my God, there was a lot of padding in this episode. It was an hour and a half, could have easily been an hour if they'd have just cut it down a little bit more. It was quite painful to watch at times, but it was also quite emotional at times. I gotta say, I found myself tearing up. It was a little bit of a different one, a different vibe. I really enjoyed it, I gotta say. I'm really conflicted on how I feel about this episode, because half of me was like so bored, and then the other half of me was like, yay! So yeah, little bit of a conflicting one there, I won't lie. So let's get straight into the episode. Here are some missed moments from the start of the episode, and I gotta say, there were some interesting moments. We started off with a spider in the truck. Josie and God, she only left yesterday. What's her name? Danielle. They were in the truck, and they were very petrified of this spider in the said truck. And I think they asked Nigel to get rid of it or something, and he was like, yeah, it's gone. It had not left. It was still in the truck. He did the classic, oh, it's gone, you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, unfortunately it had not left, and it was still in there. So very uncomfortable, bit grotty, not comfortable with the fact that it might have been sleeping in there with them. Not a fun time. Speaking of Josie, there was a whole sort of like dialogue about how she doesn't want to fart on TV, which was a bit of an odd one. And then she was like, oh, but I want to find a boyfriend after this. Yeah, Josie, I don't think this is the best. This is not your best footage to be showing potential boyfriends, I gotta be honest. But you know what? Whatever works for you at the end of the day. And then the last little thing I noticed was the fact that with Danielle gone, that means Josie's now camp leader. Which it's only taken us how many episodes to get there? Like, I would have wanted her in it from like day one. But it's taken 21 days? I think it's been 21 days. I actually don't know how long it's been. A lifetime is the answer. It feels like a lifetime. But on the whole, decent episode. What can I say? Let's get straight into the trial. So the trial was called Have Yourself a Grotty Little Christmas. And I got to say, this was probably the weakest trial of the entire series, without a doubt. It was boring, lackluster, didn't feel like there was much of a challenge. It just underwhelmed on every single aspect. And like, this is a challenge that should have been very entertaining to watch, should have been really interesting. But you choose the two people in camp who are currently not really giving much excitement or energy, and you make them do a trial like this, where they both are kind of just a bit deadpan for the entire thing. Like, Marvin was giving us some funny reactions with like the like, get off, get. But like, Nigel's just so boring when he does trials. Like, like nothing actually phases him apart from water, it seems. So like, this just did not seem like a very interesting trial. I feel like if it had been Tony and Sam, or Tony and Josie, or Josie and Sam, there would have at least been a little bit of excitement, or a little bit of just sort of like the stakes would have been raised a little bit, because they would have felt uncomfortable and you'd have visibly been able to see it. But like, I just don't think these kind of things phase Marvin and Nigel like at all. So it just made the whole thing really underwhelming and disappointing, I guess. The concept of the trial was split into 3 different sections. I'm going to talk you through them. The first section was it was all to do with like a Christmas dinner. So like, you have your Christmas dinner. They were sat in front of a roast dinner, which actually did look quite tasty, I've got to say. But then there were 2 stars on offer in this section. I got to be honest, I was kind of on my phone in this trial. It was very boring. and there was like meat coming down, fish guts, rotten fruit and veg, like horrible liquids that were just disgusting and nasty. And like it should have warranted more of a reaction than, oh bloody hell, which is all we got out of Nigel. So I just I don't understand why people are voting for him. It is just a bit boring, I can't lie, and bit disappointing. But yeah, that was the first section. They managed to get 2 out of 2 stars. Can't say I'm surprised. Again, like I said, it wasn't that difficult. It was just find the stars in the things that drop. Yeah, I know. It's not the most exciting trial they could have come up with, but here we are. The next one was, what did they have to do for the second part? Oh, it was a Christmas cracker one. So like bugs were dropped on them. They were sprayed with horrible stuff. There was mealworms, maggots, whatever. And essentially, they also had Christmas crackers dropping on them as well. And they had to rip open the Christmas crackers and find a star hidden in one of the Christmas crackers. Nigel is the worst person to have in this trial for that, because he was so slow, to the point where I was like, you should be ripping them open, sprinkling them out, tossing them out of the thing. But they just kept tossing the empty Christmas crackers back into the pile with the other Christmas crackers. So they were just constantly picking up empty. Oh, yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, I've got to be honest. But I genuinely, I don't know how they managed it, because when I tell you Ant and Dec were like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Marvin went, I found it at the last second. This entire series, he has been a last minute person. Every single time he's done a trial, lastminute.com craziness. Like when it just gets you, like a little bit anxiety inducing, where you're like, they're not going to make it. Oh, they've made it. Oh, thank God for that. Like that's just how it feels currently. So yeah, he's a little bit crazy, I won't lie. But then again, on the whole, it was an interesting part of the trial, and much more interesting than the last part of the trial. God, the last part of the trial. So essentially, they had to sit in this, I don't know, what was it? I think it was a Christmas pudding. They called it jungle pudding. And shit was just dropped on them over and over again. This was part 1 of round 3. And they had to open up the boxes and find what was in them whilst singing Christmas carols. So once again, I was just sort of like, oh, well, it wasn't just carols, it was Christmas songs. So once again, I was just like, Marvin's given it his all. He's given Grammy award-winning la 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 la. But Nigel is just giving nothing. I'm pretty sure I heard him sing like 2 words, and then he just didn't sing anything else. Like, I could hear Marvin just riffing away. So they managed to get the star from that one. What was the last part of the trial? It's the fish eyes. Those bloody fish eyes. They brought them back. And essentially the idea of the fish eye part of the trial is you got to pop them in your mouth. You got to pop them in your mouth. So you pop them in, pop them, and then spit the juice into a glass until it fills up to a certain level. And then you got to drink it once it's up to that certain level. Now, I don't know who came up with that idea. But it is vile and it's disgusting, and it's also the exact kind of thing that this trial needed to go out with a bit of a bang, because it was going out with a whimper. But they did it. They did it so easily. Like, again, nothing phases them. It's almost like Nigel just wants his 25% airtime. And you know what was really funny? Josie did want to do the trial, and Nigel was kind of talking her out of it, and she kind of just backed down because she was just sort of like, do you know what? He wants the 25% airtime. I'll just let him have the 25% airtime, which I gotta be honest, fair game. If he's fighting for it, he's fighting for it. Do you know what I mean? And he's doing a bloody good job of it, getting the screen time. Is he boring? Yeah, of course he is. But like, I don't think I really hope the public. I'm getting frustrated with the public because I really thought he'd be first out. I really, really did. But I just underestimate how awful the British public is sometimes. Like, really underestimate. But I ain't getting into it. I ain't getting into it just because it's not worth it. So it's time to talk about the families and friends moment. I've got to say, this bit had me a little bit teary. I gotta say. They haven't done this in a couple of years, probably because of COVID, which absolutely fair and valid. But they decided to bring back the friends and family come into the jungle to surprise them on one of the last days. And I gotta say, it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch just because it hit you right. You can't see, but like I'm pointing at my heart. Is that my heart? No, heart's on that side of the body. Ignore me. But yeah, so the first person up was Josie, and she got to see her friend. I don't remember the friend's name. Sorry. But that was a really, really lovely chat. They had a lovely moment. Apparently the friend's been looking after her son and has been sort of taking him around Australia, or like to the different experiences in Australia. And he's been having a whale of a time, apparently. Guys, if Sam wasn't in this competition, I think I'd want Josie to win. I really do. Because like she's just so, so sweet and so, so lovely. And it's tough. It's tough. Because like Sam's come in and stolen my heart, but like Josie, I still do have a lot of love for you. And you're not gonna watch this, but like big love for you. Big love. So yeah, and then moving on, Nigel got to talk to his daughter. I thought that was rather sweet, actually. I don't feel like I hear a lot about Nigel's family, if anything at all. So it was actually nice to sort of see this moment and sort of, yeah, just see how he interacts. Because apparently one of his daughters doesn't speak to him, which is a bit crazy. But this one obviously does and is a big supporter of her dad, which can't really work out so well with her. But anyway, yeah, so that was very interesting. But the bit that everyone was waiting for, was Sam and Pete Wicks. Because tell me why they played some romance music in the background and had me on the verge of tears when Sam was crying when he saw Pete. They have such a unique bond. I did not know they had this unique bond before he went in, but I've been doing my research and I've been listening to a lot of their podcast. Oh my God, they just have like the most magical friendship because he's so excitable and Pete is just so dry. Oh, it's so funny. They're such a good duo, and like it was so lovely to see them like interact once again. It's tough. It's tough watching because like it just really was a magical moment. I gotta say, I did think that I actually don't know where I'm going with this sentence, so I'm gonna move on to the next point that I had in my head. It was funny to see Pete talk about the bromance with not Fred, Tony and Marvin. That was quite funny to hear about. But Pete and Sam, the closest we're getting to Pete and Sam being in the jungle together. Let's hope that they both go into Celebrity Big Brother. I know Sam's already done it, but like I'd love to see him do it again. So yeah, that was such a lovely moment. Up next was Marvin and Rochelle. When I tell you power couple, they are the cutest, the loveliest, the best people ever. Such a great relationship, and it was so lovely to see them together again. Like you know when you know, like I knew Marvin from JLS and I knew Rochelle from the Saturdays, but like recently I've known Marvin and Rochelle. Do you know what I mean? Like I've known them together. So seeing them together again on screen was a bit sort of like, oh my god, this is crazy. And obviously you forget because like they're an actual relationship. They actually are just in love, and it is lovely. It's so lovely to watch and lovely to see. So yeah, that was a really, really lovely part of the episode. And then finally, Tony and his wife. Oh, can you tell I was like tearing up by the end of this? Oh, it was tough. Like the first two didn't really hit me that hard, and then Sam and Pete almost broke me. Marvin and Rochelle almost broke me. Tony and his wife almost broke me, and then just turned around and was like, "Oh, before I forget, where's the electric toothbrush plug?" Oh, I was creasing. But again, they have such a wonderful connection, wonderful relationship, and after hearing so much about his wife, it was so lovely to actually see his wife. Um, yeah, so that was just such a lovely part of the episode, I gotta be honest. So it's time to talk about dinner, and they got goat's leg. And Sam thought it was going to be burgers, and I thought, you are so wrong if you think it's going to be burgers. They're not just going to give you burgers, they're going to give you like anaconda backside or something like that. But Sam was doing a dance around the fire, and then he was like singing a bit of a song, getting a bit of a beat. Josie was joining in. Tony eventually joined in. I think Marvin was joining in as well. Nigel did not join in. Yeah, I know. And they called him out on that. They said that Nigel was the only one that didn't do the dinner dance. Which was a bit disappointing. I love that Tony's gotten involved in it all and the shenanigans. It's just so funny to watch. So funny to watch Tony Bellew, who is a boxer, join in this ridiculousness, because it's not what I expected from him, having heard nothing about him and just seen what he was like in like entrance videos and a couple of like interviews beforehand. Was not expecting this, I gotta say. Big character development from him. Big character development. So yeah, that was pretty much dinner. There wasn't really anything else. Apparently the dinner was really, really nice. And then we move on to the eviction, or the ejection, or the removal from camp, being voted out of camp, whatever you want to call it. It came down to Marvin and Josie. I'm really worried about Josie. I want my top three is Josie, Tony, Sam. I hope it's the nation's top three. But I am getting increasingly worried that Nigel is going to slip through and he's going to make it to top two when he just doesn't deserve it. And if he wins, if Nigel Farage wins I'm a Celeb, they might as well just cancel the series, because it's just made a mockery of the show. An absolute mockery. Because yeah, I think that would put the nail in the coffin of I'm a Celeb. The writing's been on the wall this series, because it hasn't actually been that interesting or that exciting. But if they did that, I think that'd be it. I think game over. They're not getting another series, because when I tell you, like, people are gonna boycott if that happens. They are not gonna be watching. Like, viewership has already fallen. They're gonna lose so much more, which is crazy. But Marvin was the guy who was kicked out, and he said he wanted Sam or Tony to win. The exit interview was fun. I enjoyed it. It's never actually that interesting, because like it used to be interesting back in the day when there was actual drama that happened in the camp, but there's no drama in the camp this year. And like the drama that did happen was all very superficial and didn't really matter. It's not like the last time we had drama was 2015 with like Lady Colin Campbell, Tony, the guy from Spandau Ballet. I can't remember his name. It's gonna come to me in a second. Tony, whatever. So like we just don't have drama like that anymore, which is a shame. But like also, I think everyone's very aware of what I'm a Celeb is. They're very aware that on TV, people are going to get judged, and they're going to get judged harshly, especially in the age of cancellations. So yeah, thank you guys very, very much for watching. We're down to our final four. I didn't want to see Nigel do Celebrity Cycling. He's going to struggle with that, but let's face it, he's probably going to be 1 star. If not, Josie will be 1 star. I reckon Sam will be. I reckon it's going to go. Sam will go for the furthest one. I reckon Tony will go for the third one. Josie will go for the second one. Nigel will go for the first one. But yeah, an interesting episode. I'm excited for Cyclone tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow for a video. Fingers crossed. I'm traveling around the country, so might be a little bit late on that one. Might be a Monday upload, but I will do my best. So thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.